everybody. I'm your host, Noopur, and I am back today with an amazing discussion with Jim Benson. And I'm really looking forward to this discussion because some amazing insights are going to come forward for all of us. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He's, as we all know, creator of Personal Kanban. He's a public speaker, consultant, and author, and he is an expert in effectiveness for individuals, teams, and organizations. Hi, Jim. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you, Noopur. It's good to be here.
So, Jim, as we spoke about you in the introduction, you have created Personal Kanban. So let's begin with understanding what is Personal Kanban.
So back in the, I don't know, a very long time ago now, David Anderson and I started the Kanban movement. And it became clear that there was a difference, there was kind of a continuum between like the super corporate boards that we were creating using the Kanban method and work that people just needed to do. And so that work of personal importance, whether it's by an individual or a group or a team, but didn't have to follow all of the rules of the Kanban method, became known as Personal Kanban. And the focus for Personal Kanban is making sure that the individuals and the team know what's going on, that there are appropriate triggers for action, and that we are reducing the stress of work by visualizing it, limiting work in progress, and focusing on improvement.
Right. So that's kind of very brief. I know there is a lot that you can tell us about Personal Kanban, but we'll try to cover other aspects along with it, Jim. So my next question is about the right environment. We often talk about having the right environment at work, right? Mm-hmm. Can you define what is a right environment at work?
I absolutely can. The right environment is when the professionals on the team have what they need to do a professional job. And so we actually have week-long right environment exercises at Modus Cooperandi, and then also teach about them at our online school, Modus Institute. We've had the most luck with them actually in construction. So before any large construction project at Turner Construction in New York City, they will go through a right environment exercise where they actually sit down with the entire team and say, what is it that this team needs to be the best professionals they can be? And that changes from team to team because teams are different. So we can't just have one size fits all for process or for culture or anything like that. The right environment is the culture that underwrites successful process. So no matter how good you are at Agile or how good you are at Kanban or SAFe or anything like that, you're still going to fail if you don't have an intentional right environment in which that can flourish. So it's professionals having what they need to be good professionals. It's so hard to smash that into a couple minutes.
I'm sure. And so now moving on to the other side of Kanban, I recently saw that you have tweeted about this. So you said that the point of Kanban is not the cards, it is the communication. So what made you say this, Jim, and how can this challenge be addressed? I'm sure it's a big challenge in the industry.
It's so big. So the whole point of having a visual control is so that human beings know the right work at the right time. They can make informed decisions and they can receive the information that they need to act with confidence. And if we're just paying attention to the cards, or we have like a dumb fake Kanban, like is in like Trello or Jira, then we don't have the level of communication necessary to actually talk to each other. So When you see any Kanban that people have created on a wall using Post-it notes, there's always other information stuck to the board or around the board or under the board or onto the tickets. And that immediate visual information communicates so much about state, about what's in peril, about who's overloaded, about where there are frustrations, about where something's broken down. And it's not just operational, it's an emotional conversation. And my worry, or what I've seen, is that people get so focused on the ticket, and then they, like in Jira, they'll bury all of this information inside the ticket, and you've completely negated the whole purpose of the Kanban to begin with, because the information you need is no longer visual.
Yeah, I think it's a huge challenge that we have been seeing over decades, and I hope that we are able to address it together. And this a brief note of yours help a lot of people understand that the purpose is beyond just being able to read the cards.
Oh, we can hope.
Yeah. So, Jim, please highlight why your favorite lean strength is inquisitiveness.
So yeah, I remember that. I remember writing that, and I can't remember where I wrote it, but I, why is lean important to me? Like, what is the core reason that all of the ideals or all of the history of lean manufacturing, lean thinking is important to me? Is because inside that there is this unending curiosity, this inquisitiveness saying, wow, we did that and it could be better. And so there's always this striving for things to get better. And I found that in Agile, it was always like trying to do the Agile, but in Lean, it's always just trying to make things better. And so when we try and marry Lean and Agile together, that's the kind of the core thing from Lean that we're bringing back is, as a professional, are you always focused on being a better professional than you were before? And the story that I tell the most from that is that, I went like my only concert that I've seen during COVID was I went to see Herbie Hancock, who is now in his 80s, and he still practices every day. He's like the best keyboardist in human history, and he still practices every day because he's a professional, and he's just curious, like, what if I did this or what if I did that? And he takes such joy in that work. And that's what I like, because the inquisitiveness also brings with it a joy that makes work better, makes work more humane.
Yeah, that's quite inspirational. I hope when I am 80, I am practicing something. Yeah. So now going back to the collaboration in a team, right? So in Kanban also we talk a lot about it. So what are your key tips on transforming an anti-collaborative team into a collaborative one? So whether we believe it or not, that's the real challenge we still face in organizations. So how do you
Absolutely,
transform?
absolutely. So right now, I'm just finishing. If you can ever say that about a book, I'm just finishing a book called The Collaboration Equation, and it is about transforming organizations from anti-collaborative patterns to more collaborative patterns. And there are a lot of anti-collaborative patterns that even in Agile we take for granted as best practices, like a team. Most teams are silos, and that's anti-collaborative. So when teams say, oh my God, we've got such a big problem with dependencies, these other teams are treating us like crap. Well, that's because you're a silo. The moment that you say that, you know that your team doesn't match the structure of the work. And so we talked about the right environment. We talked about the Kanban. We kind of talked a little bit about, the Obeya, or a place where work would be visualized. All of these things need to come together in order to build a right environment, a humane working environment that triggers collaboration, that provides systems of collaboration, as opposed to just saying, oh, go self-organize, or, you know, this is our plan, do exactly this. As far as, so the key word in that question was tips. Like, what are tips that I might have for making things less anti-collaborative and more collaborative? Wow, it's a tall order in 2 minutes. So I'm just gonna pick one and just note that it's like one out of literally thousands. And the first is just respect. So respect feels like just something that you would have for people, but respect is actually something that is demonstrated, shown, and gifted. And it is also something that can be promoted and maintained. So a long, long time ago, this is back when David and I were working together, actually. David and Corey Lattis and I had a project with Sanjeev Augustine, actually, with NBC Universal. And they had a group of people. There were 3 teams, and those 3 teams were spread around the world. They were fighting constantly, totally anti-collaborative environment. When we built their first Kanban for them, where they could all see the flow of work from start to finish, they started to realize that the team as a whole finished more work than they thought. The work was usually finished in a better state than they thought. And seeing that removed the animosity, the hate, the frustrations that the teams had for each other, because they were actually able to see the real work. And so I go back to it isn't just the cards. The cards were part of the system that showed them that success happened. But what was communicated there is you are successful, and sometimes some things fail and you need to deal with it. Before that, when they couldn't see their work and everything was just visualized, you know, like that, they would fight constantly, because the only times they'd talk was when something had gone wrong. And so each office saw the other office as super negative. So look for any strife that your team has, or your teams have, or your organization has, and find the root cause of the strife. Don't be working for productivity, because productivity is always a losing game. Don't work for you know, your flow or throughput or things like that, but find where the humans are hurting and go for that. And always think, if I go for that, I will fix that in a way where we're working together. I'm not going to make somebody the champion of fixing that team or something like that. Always collaborative.
Yeah, true that. I sometimes feel that productivity is quite overrated, and because of that, a lot of important aspects are not touched upon. So thanks for highlighting that.
Productivity
And
is cooking.
yeah, so Jim, I don't know whether you remember or not. 3, 4 years back, we have done a written interview, and in that we closed with the remark of being better, always being better, where you
Mm-hmm.
have always spoken about it. So my next question is around the same, that how being better can help people be more effective at work, and is there any role personal Kanban play in it?
Oh, sure. So, well, there's personal Kanban, there's right environment, there's lean, there's all these things. For me, being better, just like I was mentioning with Herbie Hancock, is the mark of being a professional. So if we go to work and we say, you know, if you just tell me what to do, I'll do it and I'll get it done, and then I'm going to go home and do my other thing. That's not being a professional. That's literally just being a servant. So if you are a professional, you'll always be looking at ways to be better, and that just brings effectiveness with it. You know, so the the frustration that I have is that a lot of people, when you go in and work with a new team, or when you meet a team, and people on it say, I just want to know what to do next, they usually actually don't mean that. What they're saying when they say that is, I have been so confused about what to do for so long, and I've had too much to get done and I've not been able to finish it. I don't know how to prioritize. I don't know what's important to the company. Can you just tell me what to do? It isn't what they really want. What they really want is to be a professional. but just knowing what to do is this bar, and being a professional feels like it's, you know, way up here. I'm trying to fit it into the camera. And it's painful to watch people who have been beaten down professionally so much that they feel like the best that they could ask for is commands. So if people come to you, or if people on your team are begging to know what to do, don't believe them. Just understand that that's the thing that they can see that they need. But what we all actually need is, you know, we want to go to work, we want to make a difference, we want to build better things, we want to build things that we're professionally satisfied with. And that is what being better is all about. Is that finding that professional satisfaction and not merely allowing mediocrity and pain to define our work life.
Thank you, Jim. That was beautifully explained. And with that, we come to the end of the question and answers that I had for you. And we begin with the next round, which is a rapid fire. Are you all set?
Okay. Hit me.
Okay. Which is your favorite quote?
I read voraciously, so I have a million favorite quotes. The one that's stuck in my head at the moment is one from Woman in the Dunes by Kobo Abe. And in that, Kobo Abe says, "It is a dangerous dog that does not bark." So think about that with your Kanban. Where are the dangerous dogs lying? What isn't your Kanban telling you? How do you build your visual control to bark?
Oh, that's amazing. And which is a mistake that you regret?
So for 13 or 14 years before COVID, I was on a plane almost all the time, going all over the place, which was very exciting, but it also meant that I didn't do any music. And so now this room is filled with new instruments. And I spent most of COVID recording music. And it's helped me be a better author. It's helped me be a better coach, and it's helped me be a better person. So I regret dropping that for other things.
So I'm saying I hope you're gonna pursue it now.
Oh yeah, so
Further.
I definitely. So I was just about to release an album, and
Wow.
then I pulled it back and realized that it needed to look differently. So it's on hold, but it will come out.
Wow, I'm looking forward to it. What is a silly myth that you come across, Jim, and it's like all over
Oh,
the place?
this is hard. As you might guess, just being me, this is hard for me to answer in a way that just isn't really cranky. The way I'd like to answer this is, the biggest myth that I found is that any single business process works forever, or even works at all. We always have to mold our processes to match our people, our deliverables, etc. And the myth that we can read a book and it'll fix things, or we can hire a consultant and they'll fix things for us, always ends in pain.
Yeah. What is the biggest challenge, Jim, that you have faced so far?
It's always been alienation. That people are, just like I talked about a few minutes ago, people are in working systems that don't let them act, don't let them think, don't give them the information that they need when they need it, don't respect their opinions, treat dissent negatively, and don't give people opportunities to engage in helpful observations. So, it's like, hey, we started going down this path and we're not going to be done on time. The technology choice that we made is wrong. Whatever we've learned, not bringing up, not, or we create systems that alienate professionals from the ability to act like professionals. And it's not just a challenge, it's like nearly physically painful for me when I discover it. And unfortunately, I discover it every week. Work is suffering.
What can we expect in future from Jim Benson?
Okay, well, I'm going to finish the new book, The Collaboration Equation. That should hopefully be out, I'll say, by June. And it's been 5 years in the making. There's a lot of new content in there, and what I'm excited about is, at Modus, we work with all fields. So we work in healthcare and construction and government and software development and et cetera. And so this book brings in stories from all those different verticals, so that we're learning about collaboration, not like it's the new Agile or the new Kanban, but like it's just a better way to work. At Modus Institute, we're teaching, we're building a community of people globally that just want to think about these things. And that's been so rewarding. It's been ridiculously rewarding. And so just more classes from Modus Institute and more lectures and conversations and so forth. And then after that, I still want to help build this global community of people who want to be better at living. And work is part of living, and it's a big part. So we need to do it right. Otherwise, all those other things that we do, all that diet and exercise and all those good things are going to fall flat if we go to work and are just stressed out and upset. And I'll do some more music.
Yeah. So we are looking forward to a book as well as an album from you in future. Now we're coming to the end of this discussion, Jim, and I want you to leave us with a tip. We have spoken about a lot of things in the beginning. What do you think is most significant for the professionals?
So we need to remember that as professionals, it's our responsibility to be curious. It's our responsibility to make sure that what we're building is not just of high quality, like the code's written right, but it's of high quality and that it was written by the right people in the right way, in the right environment. And that's asking a lot of people. People like, I'm not a project manager, I don't do culture, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, you have relationships with other people. And we're all responsible for those relationships. It might be inconvenient, but that's just the way it is. So always be asking yourself, like, as a group, as a group and as a professional, what's in our way from being better? What is in our way from improving? And just to remember, in the end, we go to work every day in companies to work in the company of others. We're together in this. So no one is effective alone. Effectiveness is not an individual sport. Even if you're an Olympic snowboarder, you might be out there on your own, but you have coaches and parents and friends and colleagues that put you there. So everything we do is collaboration, everything. And if we treat it as our individual work, we will never achieve effectiveness.
That's a powerful statement. I'm going to remember. So thank you for highlighting this. And it's been amazing to have you for this discussion, Jim. We covered a lot of points on creating right environment, what is personal Kanban, touched upon lean and how to be better. So thank you so much. It's been a wonderful discussion with you.
You're one of the few people on earth that can make me be concise. So this has been fun.
That's been amazing. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.